So I'm going to start with a short one. The title is I'm Going to Moscow. I'm going to Moscow to trudge through snow. I will continue until steeple clocks stop shining. I will wear scratchy shirts, read Chekhov, find his orchard, take a bite of a wormy apple, offer the rest to a sleigh driver in a topcoat, his red-worn hands at the reins of a horse I will steal. This poem has a title that's almost longer than the poem itself. I fall in love with a photo of E.E. Cummings in the New Yorker while sitting in an ophthalmologist's waiting room. It's black and white. He's looking intently away from the camera at a parade of lowercase i's. A hyphened world, linear time and rhyme, disappear in a desert of white stallions. My eyes balloon at Handsome. I need to nestle in his suprasternal notch, feel his swallows as they gather on telephone wires, stretched from limb to beautiful limb. So this next poem is about my mother, who's no longer of this world, but I'll tell you, if she was, she'd be at a casino playing cards. So the title is Queen of Hearts. A half hour west of Rochester, and you're already thinking aces, full house, pair of dreams. The seat next to you at the roulette table empty. Then a stranger becomes your best friend. How you would gamble into the small hours of dawn that brightened without you. A sunrise could be your jack of diamonds, but no matter. You're at the table, torso bent forward, straining towards the winning hand. A dealer snaps cards with Swiss clock precision. Round the craters of a crazy, howling moon stalking the casino, your ears deaf to all but the possibility of a colored card, blackjack, you win. The title of this is, What Secrets Did You Take to the Grave? I watch your body as evening brushes with cat-raised back. Slowly you turn your heavy body, a dying blossom seeking the last of day's light. Your face asymmetrical, left eye still with constant stare. A bird's eye, no longer seeking branch nor prayer. Only permission to imagine wings, permission to ascend.
Could you read that again?
Oh,
Could you do it twice?
So the title is, What Secrets Did You Take to the Grave? I watch your body as evening brushes with cat-raised back. Slowly you turn your heavy body, a dying blossom, seeking the last of day's light. Your face asymmetrical, left eye still with constant stare. A bird's eye, no longer seeking branch nor prayer, only permission to imagine wings, permission to ascend. So this next poem is called Driving Lessons, and frankly it's about my ex-husband trying to teach me to drive a stick shift on our way to our honeymoon. Yeah, it was quite a funny. Getting on this throughway. Driving lessons. Church parking lot, no boundaries, more clutch than I care to remember. I jerked my way to the altar of Jesus, his bare feet, temptation for bared treads. 6 years later, Cape Cod bound, souped up T-bird, a husband with loose jowls and a roving eye. Car and mate compete at jumping curbs. Don't get the idea I'm going somewhere in this poem. I've changed highways, often found in the wrong lane, going the wrong way, down a one-way street, but engine purring like a cat. So we're lucky enough to live on the beautiful island of Vashon, and our rental property actually has 5 acres of cedar. So a lot of days are found just kind of wandering around the beauty of those trees. And this is titled Upper Meadow Walk. Tall brown-belled foxglove, ferns edged with low autumnal light. Cedars guard with sentinel height. I walk spreading dandelion seeds, despite careful step. Long grass bent with deer's nocturnal presence. Hollow throat of summer closes. So I wrote this the day after that horrible tragedy in Las Vegas. From my window, I watch rusty foliage drop from the tall cedar like small birds losing flight. It's a sunny, crisp autumn morning. Bodies have fallen from a loosened floor. A music legend's heart holds its last beat, just long enough for us to count mortality on a shortened hand. Nothing lasts forever, but this life is difficult. Some days the light is stolen too soon. So recently I was at the coast, where I love to be, by the ocean, and I got a couple poems out of that little trip. A small pine woods, tall grass whose voice squeaks when brushed against. This is what I walk through to find the sea. Her roar is extinguished nowhere. She speaks with persistence. I listen for secret tales of her dark deep, told nowhere but here. Tall foam waves never-ending march to shore, sad, greeting an ancient mother. There's a man gathering driftwood not far from the marker I've placed to direct me where to re-enter tall grass. He's become a small disappearing dot, and I to him. We are solitary humans on this beach with our own conciliatory thoughts, each traveling through rough sand, paths unknown. I wait till Sunday to wash salt air from my hair. Its stiff, raw texture leaves pulse of windy days. A reminder of rough waves, different landscape, route signs, leaning south, leaning west, lining tall grasses symmetrically against a graying sky. Memory. I tie a string around my middle finger, telling a story to my inner sea. Pump, thrush, flip. My acrobatic mind walks a tightrope, swings on slippery wings. Somehow I survive, wake each morning, make coffee, begin the precarious walk again. Untitled. The loneliness of the world dips behind the nearest star, diamond tongues of bells wagging on a wide open stage, a three-moon play. Below, bouquets of white alder, applauding, one-leafed, sometimes two. In the orchestra pit, crickets rub legs to the slow rhythm of ripening fruit.
Okay, I can help you.
Thank you.
I'm going to hold you back.
Thank you. Iris. It could be a haunting. Oh, I just need to tell you the 3 bad marriages in this poem, they're not mine. Iris. It could be a haunting. It could be my brother studying the face of an iris to save himself from himself. I'm waiting for the eclipse to rescue us from our family black magic, to quiet father's footsteps on the staircase, to erase 3 bad marriages, to sanctify my mind. My skin has thinned to a lake's first freeze, my mouth an unpainted stone. Thank you. So this one is soon to appear in the Goose River Anthology. Oh no, it does have a title I added long after. It's called Photograph of Snow. Today wind stalks rain, or is it the other way around? When I think of this happening as the earth tips on its axis, I get lightheaded. When I photograph rain, what appears is snow. I'm on a stage with angels trimming their wings. Wind forms green caverns in a cedar, 1,000 mouths opening. I listen, but all I hear is the stage floor creaking. So I grew up on the shores of Lake Ontario, so this is kind of my one and only Lake Ontario tribute. I left her shores lapping like a slobbering St. Bernard. A pier juts out, accusatory finger from rock's edge. There's always a man, elderly, alone, his hat securing deceased wife's memories. Ashes churned long ago with seaweed, city's refuse. He tells me his story without words. Shoelaces tied tightly, jacket buttons sewn with 2 different colored threads, bed sheets cornered neatly as sailor hats, morning coffee prepared after 6 o'clock evening news. He dreams of his one and only love, a Ferris wheel of hearts, knows his days will stretch like there's no opposite shore. So we hospiced our mom in her apartment where she spent the last 20 years of her life, and this is loosely about that time. In an empty room, she lies on the floor. Carpeting scratches her back like a bristled brush. In another room, she hears her mother's labored breathing. It follows her as she walks the streets of her childhood. Sometimes it's a series of loud snores. Other times so quiet she leans ear to open mouth to feel what she cannot hear. The sky changes its story like clockwork. Clouds become beasts or drifting hairs of a dying woman. In the kitchen, someone makes soup. In another room, someone gets high. Vials of morphine lay empty in the bathroom. Someone found a shifting staircase to heaven. She wants a handrail to steady the nights, a lantern to find the stern of the ship. Can you let me know time?
Oh.
Because I...
Okay, I'll try.
Thank you.
Oh, I'll have to think about this.
Okay. Untitled. Moon lights a map of archipelagos, clouds strapped to a darkening sky. Blue strings garnish a multitude of possibilities. I could be in a desert thirsty for pilgrim's rain. Spaces between clouds have all the answers to outrageous mystery my scrappy soul longs for.
I think 5 minutes.
Left. Okay. Listen. In the country of ghosts there are no footprints. Bells in the woods will ring if you lend an ear to the roots of cedars. Most secrets are buried deep in seas, forests, celestial bodies. Ghosts will continue shedding skin, leaving trails for your small footprints to follow. Keep the bells ringing. Let's see. This is titled Imagine. The first time I saw a fox, it was trotting confidently across a police station parking lot. The same morning, a man stepped in front of a commuter train. Apron of brown grass, flattened. Somewhere in Chicago, someone was emptying coffee grounds down a drain. Starlings red with black ribbons. I kept smelling something burning. The world once survived on orchards and vineyards, an occasional slaughter held over a forgotten holiday. Imagine the signalman at a station. Imagine mourning doves lined up on a telephone wire, silent. The cellar. Sorting nails at 4 a.m., you find no words to place in baby food jars, only dialect of metal on metal, a small mouth cap. Your tongue refuses the glue to seal your letter to the outside world. You feed the hissing fire with last year's downed orchard. The slanted porch heaves with gathering rain. This is how one man rules his castle, a moat filled with drowning lovers, waiting the outstretched hand. How easily we bleed under the nail. So I think I'll finish with, it's 3 kind of little stories about these imaginary women that stick in my head. So here's Sophie. She remembers hearing Head for the Hills, maybe an old western, maybe her father's idea of escape from a bad marriage. When the last of winter's snow turned as drab gray as a business suit, and the returning swallows built nests in the old widow's steepled roof, she packed her rucksack with goat cheese wrapped in parchment, a sewing kit, and an old photo of Doris Day. She headed, well, you know where. Wild dogs met her in the foothills. Took her 3 moon cycles to get her voice tuned to the pack. Marcy. Marcy laces her shoes with old rawhide, pulls thin arms through her grandfather's worn peacoat. Screen door covered with moth wings slams behind as she sneezes 7 times, makes a wish. Checks the hen house for fox tracks, punctured eggs. The lunar cycle marks the tempo of her slow heaven. Every Thursday, 3 a.m., walks the shore of the pond, insomnia gripping like teeth of a mad dog. Water hyacinth brush her bare legs. She remembers the cat lost last spring, how with her nearby she never felt lonely. Marcy speaks Creole. The hills answer with snow, a tree falling in the night, the sound of ribs cracking. Evangeline. Nose black goes well with lace, wishes her legs were as long as Rita Hayworth's. Her women friends think she's shallow, but Evangeline knows the importance of identity. Has dreams of being a trapeze artist, dyeing her hair blonde with pale green stripes. Every morning she fine combs her lashes till they look like apostrophes. Gives her hair 100, okay, we've got a few strokes with a boar bristle brush. Walks to church, wearing wet boots. Penance, she mutters 4 times, crosses herself with pond water. She's content sleeping alone, rubs olive oil along each limb, silk sheets beneath her head to prevent wrinkles, remembers the sound of her mother's old mangle, rechecks the burn scar on her forearm. In the morning, Evangeline brews coffee for 1, feigns interest in the New York Times, swallows 2 diet pills with her OJ. The neighbor's old pickup, tires watermarked with salt water, has her thinking about leaving. Thank you very much.